Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back on Wild Eye Week with my review of The Dead Girl in Apartment 3. I thought it would be fitting to review The Dead Girl in Apartment 3 on day 3 of Wild Eye Week. So, here we are. I also find it ironic that yesterday I reviewed Ghoul House, so we're downgrading from a house to an apartment. This movie is far from a downgrade, though. In fact, I thought it was pretty amazing. The Dead Girl in Apartment 3 is a 2022 horror film, written and directed by Curtis M. Spieler, and this DVD was distributed by Wild Eye Releasing. As someone who is pretty much immune to anything scaring me when I watch movies, I can honestly say The Dead Girl in Apartment 3 genuinely creeped me out. Now, that's not to say I was scared by this, but it was effective. There is plenty I want to say about this movie, but I need to pick and choose because I don't want to spoil the film. The mystery element is a huge aspect, and I don't want to ruin that for anyone. Laura, fittingly played by actress Laura Dooling, is in her bedroom in her apartment when she hears scratching coming from her roommate's bedroom. When she knocks on the door and gets no response, she enters to find her roommate Elizabeth dead on the floor. She is literally the dead girl in Apartment 3. We do get a quick shot of Elizabeth's face, and that's the first of the creep factors. What makes it even creepier is when we soon find out Elizabeth has been dead in there for at least a day or two, just mere feet away from where Laura sleeps. Laura has literally been sleeping near and walking by the closed door of the bedroom where her roommate has been lying dead for days. That's messed up. Talk about establishing atmosphere, and this movie has plenty of it. Obviously, Laura calls 911 and the police arrive. Detective Miller and Detective Richards are on the case. The latter, played by Friday the 13th final girl Alice, Adrienne King. As they question Laura about her discovery in the apartment, we learn a little more about her. She's only been living in New York City for a few months, after having moved there from Massachusetts. And despite being her roommate, she didn't know Elizabeth well, because while Laura had classes during the day, Elizabeth worked at night, so the two rarely crossed paths. We also find out that Elizabeth had a boyfriend named Derek. Other than that, Laura has little information to share with the detectives. As I mentioned already, I don't want to give too much away, so I'll say from this point on, we witness Laura alone in the apartment, dealing with the events from earlier that night. It's late, it's dark, and she's alone. She doesn't really know anyone in the city, so she calls her ex-boyfriend back in Massachusetts. Meanwhile, Detective Miller and Detective Richards try to figure out what happened to Elizabeth. Back in Apartment 3, Laura tries to get some sleep, but keeps having nightmares. It turns out Laura may not be in the apartment alone after all. What is it, or who is it, that killed Elizabeth? And will Laura be next? I wish I could say more, guys. I do. I really want to, but I can't. Believe me, it's best to go into this one knowing as little as possible. Now, as for some things that I can say, the tension in this film is absolutely unreal. You can feel Laura's fear, her anxiety, as the viewer. It's like you're there with her in the dark apartment. And this entire movie is very dark because it's all set over the course of one night. The lighting is perfect too. You see what you're supposed to see, and there are plenty of blink and you'll miss it moments. This is a movie you need to give your full attention, as you should with any film. But if you're going to put this on and look at your phone or look away, then don't even bother. This is meant to be watched. Your eyes are meant to be on the screen. It's almost an experience in a way. Again, as the viewer, you're meant to feel as if you're there with Laura in Apartment 3. Speaking of Laura, I thought Laura Dooling was great in the role. She comes across as very authentic. I really like her dialogue, and she's nice to look at. She really sells the frightened performance, though. I felt stressed out for her. I like all of the other characters as well. Detective Miller was great, and it was awesome seeing Adrienne King have such a large role. I was sort of expecting it to just be a cameo, but she's in the entire film. The interaction between the characters feels real, especially the conversations between Laura and her ex-boyfriend, Christian. And the apartment itself is just unsettling. I love the original score, which adds to the creep factor. It's used so well throughout the film. The reveal, or answer, to the mystery is very satisfying, in my opinion. I think what makes the whole thing so scary is the fact that Laura feels uneasy the whole time. There's this overwhelming, impending doom that ultimately pays off. The ending is awesome too, and there's even a brief post-credit scene. I absolutely loved this movie, and it is easily in my top 5, maybe top 3 Wild Eye films. It doesn't even feel independent or low budget. It's so well made. I cannot wait to watch this one again, or revisit Apartment 3, if you will. Massive thank you to Wild Eye Releasing for sending me this DVD to review. Have you seen The Dead Girl in Apartment 3? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And if you haven't seen it, I highly, highly recommend it. Which Wild Eye movie will I review next for Wild Eye Week? Check back tomorrow to find out. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.